I'm curious really to know about how you approach building applications on these platforms compared to other low-code tools out there. How do you find Apex in terms of flexibility and ease of use?
So there are a lot of reasons why Apex is so easy. Being built on top of Oracle database makes it very easy to just access the data without any additional steps. And that's one of the unique things to Apex. And that's what makes it so easy to use. It just requires some SQL development, some JavaScript sometimes, and maybe some CSS to make it look beautiful, and it'll work just how you want it to work.
Okay, are there any typical stages that exist when you build application on this platform? Can you highlight more about this?
Yeah, so there's a lot of the same steps that we would use with any other application. You would want to know, obviously, what you're building. That's a big one. And you need to know who it's for. Building an application for accountants is going to be different than building an application for warehouse management. So knowing who it's for, what they're going to use it for, like what the plan is, what it's needed for, is going to be, that's going to be the base of what you're doing. And then you're going to come up with the basic stuff. You're going to have timelines. The nice thing with Apex is it is quick to code. It's easy to build. We can reduce the development time significantly using Apex, especially if you have the resources to do it quickly. And then it's just a lot of the other things you want to do. You want to have your timeline, your plan, where you're going to be, the big points, what needs to be in the app. And then it's, you can develop until you get to testing. But I always like to have people testing it as we go to make sure that it's what they need, what they want. And it makes it easier all around, and it helps us get there quickly instead of having to restart if we're doing something wrong.
Obviously, building an app isn't just about tech. You always should meet business needs. And yes. How do you make sure that what you're building aligns with business objectives right from the start?
So I like to have it written out, what they need, what they want, how it's supposed to work, how it's supposed to look. A lot of times we'll get wireframe designs of how the app is supposed to be. And like even just the flow of it. Once you do this, it needs to go into this. And then, the steps of what needs to happen. And that is always the best way to do it. Then we know exactly what is needed. And then if we find something that doesn't work, we can always pivot and change it a little bit. So yeah, clear definitions of what it is always helpful in everything.
Development can sometimes be a moving target, so with things changing as you go along, how do you manage those iterations? Does Apex have any features that make it easier to adjust things on the fly?
Yeah, so it is really easy to adjust on the fly because of the low code way that it's done. One thing we always worry about is scope creep and what, as we develop, what is going to get added on. And so I think what we try to do is try and keep versions. And within Apex, you can have different, we have our different environments for testing and development and then for production. And so having, production working at a certain level and then building onto dev to release into prod is, a great way to do it. And it helps with that scope creep because then we can have them using the application, see what works, see what doesn't work, fix it and deploy it. And a lot of times we can do that very quickly, depending on the needs of the business.